How's it going, folks? Rosendo from MLH here. We're going to keep Global Hack Week, Data Week rolling with another awesome workshop, a session that's going to be presented by our friends from Fastn. Can y'all hear me out there? Do y'all see me? Let me know. Awesome. All right. We've got folks in the chat. We've got Way saying hi. We've got other folks telling me they can hear me. I love it. All right. So today we're going to be learning about something pretty cool, I think. It's going to be Agentic AI, and we're going to be using something called the Unified Context Layer, and it's going to be presented by our friends from Fastn. If you've heard of them before, if you've used them before, if you've never heard of them before, let me know in the chat. I just want to see where y'all are at in terms of familiarity with the content that we're about to be putting. Yes. Hello, Rosendo the Hacker. Hello. How's it going? Yeah, we locked in. Love to see it. I love the energy in here. All right, so we're going to get right into it. Without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring up our friends from Fastn. So Usman, Sarmad, and Umar are going to be coming up. Once again, do let us know where y'all are at in the world. Let me know where, you're joining us from. And, oh, okay, absolutely heard of it. We've got not familiar, but cool. We've got folks that have absolutely heard of it. Suprub hacks hackers. Yeah, love it. So I'm just waiting for these folks to let me know that they are ready to go. And once that happens, we will definitely jump right into things. We've got Octa Daniel joining us from Uganda. It's hard for me. I'm like trying to click and display all of these comments, and so many are coming in at the same time. Love to see. We've got folks from Pakistan. We've got folks from Bangladesh. Love to see it. Truly a global hack week. I love to say that. But yeah, Usman, Sarmad, Umar, just come off. Go ahead and turn your videos on, or one of you turn your videos on, and let me know that you're ready to join the live stream here. Awesome. All right. So without any further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and bring our folks up from Fastn. Please give them a warm welcome, y'all.
Hey everyone, hope you're well. And good morning, good evening, wherever you are throughout the world. It's a pleasure to be here at Global Hack Week and to kind of give you an idea about what's happening within Agentic AI. I'm pretty sure that most of you guys are, building a lot of AI, working with AI, building AI agents. And I think some of you have also heard about Model Context Protocol. So this session is going to be very friendly for people who are just trying to build build agents or make agents more intelligent. So let me know if you guys can see my screen. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this session is going to be focused on the new layer of agentic AI, and the reason why I say the new layer of agentic AI, it's basically because as we see the agentic ecosystem just growing, we're seeing more and more new technologies come up, and this is something that I'm really excited to share with you and give you an idea more about it, right? Okay, so a bit about myself. I'm a low-code, no-code advocate. I'm an ecosystem builder who loves to build cool stuff, and I'm currently running with the crew. So I run a lot, and currently I'm leading developer relations at Fastn.ai, and I'm gonna get to Fastn in a bit. But just to give you guys some context, right? So before getting started, all questions are welcomed. Energy and clarity, and of course, this is a session that is friendly for all types of builders. So whether if you are vibe coding, whether you are just someone who is a bit aware about the agentic space, or is a hardcore developer, so this session is particularly for you guys. So and yeah, what I love, I'm a huge gamer. I love to advocate about low code tools, been doing that for the last 9 years, and yeah, I'm a runner. So just to give you guys a context behind Fastn, that the problems so far with existing technologies is more methodologies take place to launch products at an MVP stage. At the time, there are more technologies, less business, and complex processes and overwhelming resources. So this is where the low-code, no-code paradigm shift comes into play. I'm pretty sure that a lot of you guys have worked with low-code, no-code, and we're seeing that huge paradigm shift where people are now converting natural language into just developing applications. So rapid development, automation, and workflows, integration, embedding, anything that you can think of, right? So in a nutshell, it's basically an augmentation of full code. So this is where Fastn comes into play. So Fastn is basically like the essence of it. It's a low-code, no-code AI platform that allows SaaS companies to build, connect, automate, and entire embeddable infrastructure. So what this means is that you can build entire infrastructures without the need of hiring 5 to 10 developers, having an entire engineering team, and you can start integrating thousands of tools, simple plug and play, and these can be secure. These are secure and ready for business usage. So Fastn helps you build your infrastructure, your entire business from scratch without the idea of working on the code end or thinking about having an entire team for that. So we're supported and backed by Antler and Live Oak Ventures, and we're highlighted by Forbes, Product Hunt, VentureBeat, and Yahoo Finance. And we've worked with numerous companies like HP, AWS, Paragon, Rotelio, and so on. For more opportunities, if you guys are interested to know more about our roles, where are we hiring, and just interested to know more about our products, you can just search this URL. You can just search this URL, or you can just scan this QR code. I'll have this shared with the community as well. So moving forward, and let me just see if you guys are able to see the screen. Okay, yeah, perfect. Yeah. So right now, the current wave of AI agents is, of course, current wave of AI is agentic, right? So we're seeing that somebody's building a chatbot, somebody is building a complete product from scratch using a few prompts. So there's a lot of things that are going on. But there is a problem behind this. So, in a nutshell, AI agents are dumb. And the reason why I say this is that you might have heard of context driven AI agents, right? So, essentially, when you're having AI agents to perform something, they're generally just generating text, or they're just generating an image, but they're not exactly doing what you wanted to do. So this is where you can think of that, hey, I can just call an API from my agent, right? But the problem with that is that think of each API as like a huge house with every single room out there. So in order to unlock every single room, you would need a separate key. And so to work with Gmail, Slack, WhatsApp, you'll need to have their own specific APIs, and then you'll need to make sure that they are properly authenticated and whatnot. So this is where model context protocol comes into play. I'm pretty sure that you guys are aware of model context protocol. If some of you aren't, think of it like a USB-C port where you have all of these, amazing applications, Slack, Jira, Notion, GitHub, and instead of like having a micro USB, a USB, a VGA port, instead you have a USB Type C. You're just connecting it to your LLM, and your agents can now work with Slack, Jira, Notion, GitHub, whatever you can think of. But still, there is some gaping loopholes to model context protocol, right? So when you're working with MCP, like you've seen that every single application out there, like every single product out there, whether it's Notion, Zapier, whatever you can think of, they have their own model context protocol. So it means you have to go through the documentation, understand what their actions do, map those entire actions. So imagine that you're building an entire product for 5 to 10 people, and what happens is that you have to first map those actions. And let's say that one of your consumers say that, hey, I don't want Notion, I want linear, right? Let's assume that. So in that sense, you would have to first map those actions, remove the previous actions, and it's just glue code and repair the setup, right? So, and I think the one thing that we've identified is that your customer, or any particular application that you're building, any agent that you're building, right? And if you're connecting with MCP, you necessarily can't tell what's happening on the back end, or your customers don't have complete visibility. So this is where unified context layer comes into play, which is basically one layer, endless tool, multiple tenants. So basically, if I were to say what's the best way to describe it, it's like one layer to rule them all, or to say one tool to rule them all. So to understand unified context layer, it's a singular context layer that allows your AI agents to connect to 1,000+ tools with little to no glue code. It allows you to embed that layer onto your SaaS product without the need of going to every single MCP out there, every single documentation out there, and you have full ownership And unified context layer is the first of its kind to have multi-tenancy. And what multi-tenancy means, I'll get to that in a bit. So in a nutshell, your AI agents can do more. You own what you build. You are enabling organizations and startups to scale faster. So you might be thinking by this time that, hey, isn't this just another MCP? Like, isn't this like that? So the best way to explain the difference between MCP and UCL is that your MCP is a singular USB port that you can connect, disconnect, and have multiple. But with UCL, you have a pre-configured workspace with all of your apps readily available. So you don't even have to think about that. I need to connect to Slack, Notion, Jira, and then I have to disconnect to something. All of them are available. And let's suppose if you're disconnecting to one application, you that easily reflects upon the code base that you're working on, so you don't have to ever worry about mapping or demapping any actions. So in a nutshell, AI agents that are on the front end, apps and tools that work together, and you have this brilliant sort of amalgamation called unified context layer. So just to understand a few UCL key components, and I hope that you guys are able to see my see my screen. Yeah, perfect. So UCL key components. So we have four key components, which is connectors, monitoring, embedding, and multi-tenancy, which I'll get into a bit later on. So we also have a walkthrough of unified context layer for people who are either vibe coding, either they are hardcore developers, hardcore MCP enthusiasts. We have that walkthrough for you guys. And this platform, if I were to say who does it help, it helps every single person out there. So if you are vibe coding, think of UCL as you're vibing with MCP. So you have all of those MCPs in a neatly unified context layer. So just to give you guys a bit of context, I have a few recorded demos as well in case of any technical issues. But I'm going to do is I'm going to get to the platform itself. So let me just share my screen again. Wait. Okay. So wait. Okay. I hope my screen is visible. Yeah, my screen is visible. Okay. So with unified context layer, right, what the user can now do is that instead of like thinking about, hey, I need to connect with Slack, Jira separately, you have all of these applications. All I need to do is just select, like, let's suppose if I want to connect to Azure DevOps, I have these, connect these actions available, or let's say tools that are available. All I need to do is authenticate and I'm good to go. I don't need to worry about hey, I need to utilize some MCP and utilize their documentation. Everything that you need is right over here. So you can see that all of my action that I need are connected over here. I have Google Calendar, I have Google Docs. I can see what actions are enabled. And the one thing that we do have is, embeddability. And what embeddability means is that you can have the entire unified context layer onto your application, whether it's an AI assistant or whether you're building something very complex. So you can start off with a starter template where we have a really cool application where you can just plug in UCL and you can start playing around with it. We support Cloud Code, Cloud Desktop, Cursor, OpenAI API, Gemini CLI, VS Code. The so many things you can think of. And the one thing, if you think about it, with UCL is we have complete observability. So if you have customers, or if you are building up AI agents for customers who want complete observability, this is where UCL comes into play. So over here, I can see how many tenants, how many active connectors, what is the success rate, how many tools were successful, how many times have I been using it, what kind of connectors I've been using, and you can see how many accounts have I been connected to those particular applications. And I can see the tool uses. So over here, you can see that I've been using Fastn Unified APIs, GitHub, and I can also see what is the overall data usage, and I can see it for per tenant. So for per tenant, I'll explain it in a very simple way. So when we talk about tenants, right, think of it as you have a marketing department and you have an engineering department. And let's say that your marketing department of a company wants to use AI agents that are enabled for them. So in this case, they want to utilize Google Workspace, Notion, Jira, and your team, which is the engineering team, they want to utilize GitHub, Gitbook, Slack, whatever, right? So in this case, we have this functionality called Workspace. So your applications are defined by your workspace. So all I need to do is select my workspace, and those applications that I've enabled, that will be readily available for me. And this is where multi-tenancy comes into play. So we have this neat little playground over here. So what the playground does over here is I can see all my applications that are enabled. So these are all of the applications that I've enabled. And if I'm a user named Usman1, all I need to do is connect with my credentials. So I don't need to log out, my colleague. I don't need to log out anyone else. All I need to do is create a tenant, switch my tenant, and use my credentials with the same application within that workspace. So coming to embedding, right? So when it comes to embedding, over here you can see this neat little server URL, and you can see that the API key, the workspace ID, all of that is already embedded. So all you need to do is copy paste that server URL, and you are good to go. So apart from that, we also have a neat little feature called Sandbox. And what Sandbox mode does is that it allows users to play around with UCL natively with a dummy application that we've created for you guys. So if you guys are curious and just are like, hey, I want to just connect and start using UCL, so this is where you can do. And of course, you can play around with it. You can change the widgets. You can have any other functionality as well. It's very easy and simple to use. I'm just having my screen loaded, so I'll be sharing that in a bit to give you guys a sort of rundown around around sandbox mode. So meanwhile, while that's happening, I'm gonna switch to my slides back again, and I'm gonna share with you some use cases. So okay, so let me just share my screen one more time. Okay. Okay, so we talked about connectors and actions, right? So like I mentioned, your connectors and actions, they're defined by your workspace. You can easily connect, authenticate, and start using them. And the neat thing is, if you are disconnecting to Gmail, it reflects upon your application. So you don't need to worry about going on the code and start, disconnecting or worrying about server URLs. So you only have one server URL in this case. And to show you an example, I have this neat little demonstration for you guys where we have Gmail and Google Docs enabled. And over here, what we're going to do is we're going to use the playground mode over here, and we're going to tell it to utilize. A bit of a prompt. And what we're going to do is we're going to tell it to create a Google Doc on the future of AI, and send and create 500 words about it, and then send it to my colleague. So it's going to do exactly that. And while it's doing it, it's going to push that accordingly. And as you can see, I've pushed a prompt over here. I've just recorded it to make it more easier for you guys. This demonstration will also be available in case you guys are very curious. So over here, I gave it one singular prompt. It's running the instructions, and as it's running the instructions, it's also asking me that, do you want this title to be like that? Do you want these words to be like that? And it goes step by step. So it's not doing it completely in one go. So it's making sure that it's giving you what you exactly want. So I'm sending this email, and you can see over here that the documentation has been created, and over here you can see that the document is created. And now I'm going to just send over the email, right? So what's the result, right? So this is what happens when you utilize UCL with some context. So over here you can see that your Google Doc is created 500 words, and the second result is that the documentation has been sent to that respective colleague, right? So in a nutshell, you have complete observability, you have full control over what you're building, and you can also see what are the logs. So you can also tell what tool was successful, what was the request, what was the response. You can have complete observability. This is really useful for people who are like aiming to build their own startups, and they just want complete control over what they're building, right? So I talked about multi-tenancy in action, and here's a small demo for it. So over here, I'm going to select my model, and I'm gonna create my tenant ID. And over here you can see that I have Gmail, Google Docs that are connected, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to switch to another tenant, maybe Usman instead of Usman 1 or Usman 2, and it's going to show me those same connectors, but Google Docs, Gmail are no longer connected. And this is where multi-tenancy comes into play, where you don't have to worry about um, you know lo- logging the other person out, defining credentials. You just need one tenant to define everything for those respective credentials, right? So what we are going to do is, we're going to go into a demo, and this is going to be a live demo, but in case of any technical issues or any concerns, we also have it recorded. So we're going to have a use case. So the use case is going to be like, how can we take a design, a simple UI interface, and then convert it into code and push it into a code repository. So for this, we're going to use unified context layer and any IDE. For in this case, we're going to use Cursor. So it's going to create the front end, set up the back end, and publish it on GitHub, right? So I am just going to share my screen again. Wait, let me just share my screen. Okay. Okay, wait, let me see if my... Okay, it seems that my browser is doing a bit of problems. Okay. Okay, I hope my screen is, yeah, my screen is okay. So over here, I'm using Cursor for this demonstration, and over here I have this empty folder, and I haven't done anything. But for context sake, what I'm going to do is, first of all, wait, let me just share one more thing for you guys so you guys can get better context. Apologies for that. Wait, just, yeah.
Usman, sorry to interrupt, but would you be able to increase the font size and zoom in a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Let me try to do that as well. Okay. Wait. Okay. So over here, if you can see my screen, over here, I have this random, UI over here. You can see that this is a login page, this is a create an account page, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the details from here, take the nodes from here, and convert it into a code, and then implement it into a complete code, and then push it to GitHub, all from Cursor this time, and we're going to just publish it onto GitHub, and we won't be needing to connect to any other tool out there. So what I'm going to do is, first, what we're going to do is, going to embed over here. I'm going to head over to Cursor. So there's the Cursor client over here, and over here it's giving me instructions that all I need to do is, copy this JSON file. So for that, I'm going to head into Cursor. Let me just share my screen again. Okay. 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 So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it a command, and I'm gonna tell it to fetch and login sign up components or anything like that, so that it's a bit easier. But I have a few things already ready, so it's not a problem for us over here. So first I'm gonna do is make sure that I have the server URL ready. So over here, let me just head over to settings. Yeah, let me head over to settings, Cursor settings, and make sure that I have my MCP server ready. So over here you can see that, wait, okay. So over here you can see that my MCP server is ready. I have all of those tools which I've enabled. It's reflecting upon over here on Cursor. So I don't need to do anything. All you have to do is just copy paste the JSON and implement it over here, and you're good to go. Okay, so I'm just gonna zoom in again, and I'm going to give it a command, fetch and sign up components from Figma, and I have the URL from the same Figma file. Please do make sure that when you're doing this, your Figma file is public. So I'm going to push this, and I do hope if we don't have any technicality issues. Yeah, switch model to auto, and what's gonna do is, wait, okay. Okay, I have a bit of technical issues for this. So okay. So instead of that, I have a demonstration just in case, so we don't have to worry about getting into this. So let me just share my screen again, and I have the slides for this. Okay. Okay. So for this demo, instead of going hands-on, I have this recorded, so you guys don't have to worry about. And I also have this available for you guys in case you're curious. So what I'm gonna do over here is, I have selected my connectors. For this, we're gonna use GitHub, Figma, and MongoDB. So Figma is gonna, we're gonna fetch the data from Figma. We're gonna convert it into code on Cursor, and then we are going to push it. Create the backend with MongoDB, and then we're going to push it to GitHub. So all I have to do is, copy this JSON file, and then, as I mentioned before, all you have to do is publish it into your tools and integration section, and then, add it over here in your server, add it over here in the JSON file. So after that, once that's done, what we're going to do is we're going to put in a prompt, and the prompt is going to be the same one that I mentioned before. So over here, just to double check that we have our tools enabled, and yeah, this is the Figma file. I'm going to copy this, and what's going to happen is that I'm going to paste this, and I'm going to give it a command that fetch the login and sign up component page, and I'm going to publish the paste in the Figma file. So once that's published, once that's pushed in, so it's going to analyze it, it's going to fetch in the login and sign up components, and it's going to convert that accordingly. So this does take amount of time depending upon whether you have what kind of model you're using, but for this case I've just speeded it up so that it's much more easier. So now that it's fetched the data from Figma, I'm gonna tell it to create the backend, first create the front end, of course, using Next.js, and it's going to create the login and sign up page. So it's doing that exactly. It's doing the step by step. So it has 5 steps. It's completing that accordingly, and of course it does take time, so I have just speeded it up. And the entire application, the entire front end UI has been created. So now I'm going to tell it to use an existing MongoDB table to fire up the sign up and login, and then push it into a GitHub repository. So it's going to do that exactly, and yeah, you're gonna push that exactly, and there's gonna be a repository called login app. I've already created the repository beforehand, so we don't have to worry about that. So it's gonna do the backend, and it's gonna push into the PR, and we're gonna see the changes on GitHub. So the README is being updated, some changes are being made, and we'll see pull request being submitted on GitHub. So okay, so now that we're done with that, we're going to move to GitHub, and for that I also have recorded. So we have this random repository. We're going to push in the pull request, and we're going to see those changes being reflected upon. So if I go back to my browser, and if I see that same repository, so let me just show you that. So okay, so share screen. I'm gonna do that. Okay. Okay, so for this demo, I do had another dummy repository I wanted to showcase that, but that it's not a problem. We still have another repository for this. So over here, if I go into login app, the same changes that I made, it's being reflected upon. The same changes, the same code that I push, it's being reflected upon over here. And basically, with this is all achieved through UCL. So imagine having multiple server URLs or creating an entire MCP server. Instead of doing that, you have one unified context layer. You just need to connect it in, plug it in. There is little to no code, and you're good to go. So coming back to the slides. Okay. Coming back to the slides. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I also wanted to showcase the sandbox. So this is the example of the sandbox. So basically, it's a random assistant. All you have to do is plug in your API key and your server URL, which you've copied from Unified Context Layer, and you can use this application as you see fit. There are instructions provided in case you're very curious. So at the end of the day, like, we are now aware about model context protocol, we are aware about unified context layer. So at the end of the day, what's the scope? So now agentic solutions can have better adoption. They can become more intelligent, and they can work with more context. You can build and scale faster. There's less hassle on building, and there's less hassle on building, and you can focus more on deployment. And you don't have to worry about juggling multiple MCPs, or worrying about documentation, or worrying about mapping actions. All you have to do is simple: utilize one server URL, connect your favorite apps, and you're good to go. So this is what low code looks on the front end, and this is really powerful if you think about it, that you just have a bit of actions, you're just connecting them. And if you look at it on the back end, you have all of this code. This is really impressive for people who are saying, hey, I don't want to code, I just want to vibe code everything into a solution. So this is where we have provided that context with unified context layer. And you might be having some common queries: is UCL for companies and teams only? And no, if you are just an AI builder, anyone who is vibe coding any particular application that you're trying to build, and you're having an AI agent, and you want to have it more context driven, then you can do that very easily. Is UCL free and worth exploring? Yes, UCL is on a freemium plan, but we do have UCL free for this Global Hack Week, in case you have any queries, you're looking to build something really impactful. So UCL is going to be free for everyone who is participating in Global Hack Week, and you can get started easily at ucl.dev. We have our documentation, we have our entire team ready to support you. And if there are any other queries, feel free to reach out to us for any roles, opportunities, and beta access. By the way, we're hiring as well. So, and we are also sharing some new beta access as well. So you can easily join our Discord, or just utilize this URL. So for any queries, any concerns, you can reach out to me as well on my socials, or you can just reach out to us at Fastn on our LinkedIn. So with that being said, thank you so much. And if there are any queries, we are looking to answer them.
That was such a cool demo, Usman. Thank you so much for taking out time to walk us through that. We did have a few questions that I have starred in here, and I'll get to it one by one. The first question here was about, is this anything related or similar to Oracle Apex?
Okay, so I think for this one, we have our UCL lead Sarmat for this. So Sarmat, are you available?
Yes. So I don't have too much context of what exactly Oral Apex do, but what UCL is mainly for it's like a integration hub, plus we exposing our integration hub through MCP, so that it can power your AI agents. Like what Usman showed in the demo, like we have a lot of like 1,000+ connectors, and when you connect, and you can enable whatever you other tools required for your AI agent, and then we expose those tools through MCP servers, so you can integrate those through AI agents. Also, we have some other stuff packages which allow your user, like we support multi-tenant for enterprises and also for small startups as well, so that even your user can connect through your UI to the apps, and then they can use the agent you build through using the UCL. So that's the main idea of the UCL.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, the next question here is maybe related directly to the demo as well. Can you maybe try and explain what AI agents are, if you can, as in a simpler way possible?
Wait, so AI agents are basically just LLMs to which we provide tools with, like giving body to a brain. I would say I would more call it as a vehicle, right? So you've given the engine, right, but the rest of the functionalities, like the advanced features, your vehicle can't really do that until it's actually given the right tools. So think of LLM as like an ordinary assistant. So you have your basic AI assistant, chat, or you're using chat GPT, you're using Claude, and it's giving you answers based on what it's told to do or what it's instructed to do, right? Or if you're building an agent or a basic assistant, you probably trained it what to do, right? So with UCL or with MCP, right, the first step was MCP. So with MCP, you can connect a singular tool and make, let's say, Slack work with, let's say, any particular with any particular agent that you have built, right? And you can tell it to send messages, get messages, anything like that. What unified context layer does is that it reduces the friction of you building a context driven AI agent and just getting too much into looking into Slack, Salesforce, any other product out there. All you need to do is simple connect. And people do ask me that, hey, so where's the coding aspect of it? So we do support developers. We have seen, we have an entire list of clients that you can go through. It's just that we're trying to help developers, AI builders, build more rather than focus so much on working on glue code. But if glue code is something that excites you, that's up to you. With what we are trying to do is trying to minimize that glue code and let you build the product that you're trying to do and push it to scale.
Well, thank you so much for answering that. The next question here is about uh, basically prerequisites that you need to get started with Fastn and anything that's around AI agents, MCP. Do we really need to know machine learning and data structures to get started with this tool right now?
Okay, so with UCL, we made it so easy that you don't even need to learn any prerequisite. We made it so easy that there's one server URL, and all you have to do is just copy paste it, put it out there, and you're good to go. But if you are like, hey, I just want to get started, we have the playground, we have a basic AI system, and we also have an entire repository where you can just clone an application, start using it, and just connect your server URL. We have literal instructions for that. But if I were to say how much do you need to learn about use to get started with UCL, I would recommend that understanding what is an MCP, why MCP, and why we have come towards a unified context layer, because we're actually solving some loopholes that we see in MCP. So we aren't like saying that, hey, we're against MCP or anything like that. There's also a conversation that comes into play. We are sort of like trying to support MCP with something that's much more easier and adaptable for developers. Share the QR code again. Yeah, I think I'll have Siddharth share that QR code. Can we
Yes, for
get a PDF for the PowerPoint? Definitely. This is like, in terms of content, there's something I made completely for you guys, so you can easily just go through it.
Good. We'll get it from the Fastn team and send it over to all of you. For anybody who's trying to get through to the QR code, if you were to go back to YouTube and just watch the recording of this, that'll live there forever. So that's one easy way for you to do that. If not, just wait for us to send the PDF over to you, and you should be able to find it there. I am going to scroll back in to see if there are any more questions that came in. Yeah, there's one here, which is about someone trying to work on AI projects but struggle to achieve good accuracy. For example, RAG apps, and LLM either gives a very short answer or fails to say no. Uh, while they're using Fastn, is there any tips around what they can do to achieve better results? Or do you think this is out of scope of what we've been talking about?
Okay, so in terms of making your AI apps more accurate, it depends upon, number one, how you've trained them, what kind of what kind of data you're using. With UCL, again, what it's like, you have an entire array of tools. Like, it's like a toolbox. What you're trying to do with your AI agent is let that agent work with those tools. So I would say it's a bit out of context to AI agents in general. But I would say that in regards to how to make AI apps more accurate, I think Umar, our engineering lead, can better answer that. Umar.
Yes.
We had this
So
question
for
about.
that,
Yeah, go for it. Sorry.
so he's asking about to improve like how apps will be accurate. For example, RAG and the other LLM. So RAG is different. Like it works on the basically documentations or the data you have for your apps. Basically, it's kind of like what we call it. It's kind of different data you can answer from, like it's a question answer agent. You can integrate that into UCL, by the way. If you have multiple agents, you can create that API in the Fastn and integrate it with the UCL. Then multiple agents will be under the UCL, and then you can use them wherever you want with a single URL. Is that Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. I'm sure it gets them even more excited. And getting to know that it's super simple to get started with this application, and you don't need to go through and learn about all of your data structures and everything that you've been going and learning in school. It makes so much more easier for folks to use it. And I'm sure, having gone through the demo that Usman just showed us, they're feeling more confident in tackling all the beginner friendly challenges we have at Global Hack Week for them. Well, I think that's the end of questions, at least in the chat for now. If you have further questions anytime throughout the week, we also have a channel dedicated to Fasten on our Discord server. It's called Ask Fasten. And all of these amazing folks, Usman, Umar, Sarmad, and a lot more people from the team are in that channel. So go feel free to put your questions in there and they'll be around to answer that for you. But it looks like that's the end of the stream for us today. Thank you so much again, Usman, Umar, and Sarmad, for taking out time from your busy schedules to do this for the community and help us empower hackers and all the good things that they're going to do throughout this week and even after that. Do you have any parting notes, anything that you would want to recommend to them while they're trying out the platform?
I would say try your favorite application, just connect it, use the playground, and see how it works. Basic. You don't need to worry about, do I need to build an AI agent? But if you are very curious, if you're going to embed, there is a basic application for you guys to just try it out. Literally everything is just waiting for you. All you have to do is just connect, embed, and you're good to go. Like, this is for everyone who is a builder. Like, I'm a low code, no code advocate. I've been advocating low code since, for the last 9 years. And I can understand that a lot of people just want to build impactful products. So this is for everyone who is anyone who is trying to say, okay, we want to build, just a product. We don't want to get into technicality, or we don't want an engineering team. This is for you guys, for you to just play around. We also have some challenges for you to, look into, and they're very immersive challenges, something that you can definitely take advantage of. And I think there's one last question: what kind of positions we're looking to hire? We have a lot of questions. But I'll answer this one for this one. We have AI. We're looking for senior AI engineers. We're looking for platform designers, and we're looking for people in some managerial roles. So you can just reach out to us on Discord, and we will be able to push in a referral. So our Discord channel is the best way to get a referral and to make sure that you can get the opportunity. Is this tool free to use? Yes, exclusively for Global Hack Week. This tool is entirely free to use. So play around with it. Just build anything that you want. Go crazy. Like, there is the sky's the limit with this.
Awesome. Well, there are multiple people in the chat saying thank you. So thank you so much for taking out time again and coming with us and showing us all around that tool. Well, for everybody in the chat and watching us live from home, you now have a 15-minute time refund to go get prepared for the next team that's going to come in. I know all of you in the chat love Rosendo also very, very, very much. So Rosendo is going to come back for 2 back-to-back streams in another 15 minutes. So go grab some water, get some rest, and we will see you all on the other side for the next stream. But thank you so much for joining us today, and happy hacking. We'll see you all later. Bye, Usman. Bye,
Thanks
Umar.
so much. Goodbye.
Bye.